Hi everyone, this is Ravi. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is our lesson 12 on test project automation tool concepts. So in this lesson, I'm gonna concentrate on how can we use adaptive wait, explicit wait, and visible elements operations while automating your test cases by using TestProject. So as you all know, I have already published around 11 lessons on test projects covering all the basic concepts and also little advanced concepts. I would suggest you guys to visit those videos before you watch this session. I'm going to explain you the difference between adaptive wait, explicit wait and visible elements operations, and also I'm going to show you how can we use these parameters in TestProject while automating your test cases and how useful are these. Okay, please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos on these concepts. Thank you. Okay, so what is our agenda item? So here I'm going to explain adaptive wait, explicit wait, visible elements operations. So what do you mean by adaptive wait? So adaptive wait means, let's assume, so any software which builds that requires a client and also the server, right? So in sometimes service versus service. So by using applications, whenever you perform some action, let's say login action, so you provided your username and you provided your password and clicked on login. So once you click on login, you will be landing onto home page. But to load the home page and to load the elements in the home page, it will take some time for you to get the response from server, right? So let's say if you requested a service also, let's assume you requested a REST service. So it will take some time for you to get a response, right? For any action. So because there is a delay between client versus server, so you would need adaptive wait. If you know how much delay, let's assume by experience you got to know that most of the elements are getting loaded or most of the requests and responses, it's taking around 10 seconds based on your application performance. But even though you know it is 10 seconds, but in some cases it might take more than that. Let's assume you have a HTML table or search results. It might take 20 seconds in some cases, right? So in that case, you cannot assume that every response takes 10 seconds. No, sometimes it might go up to 20 seconds also. So that is why the adaptive wait comes into picture, right? Where the application or the script, the test project will wait until the response has been received from the server. So as soon as you get the response, it goes to the next step. It will not wait for the defined time, or if you are defining 20 seconds, it need not to wait until 20 seconds because it is an adaptive wait. As soon as the application is loaded and the corresponding elements are loaded, it moves on to the next step. So that's the advantage of adaptive wait. How can we use this by using TestProject? I'm going to tell you in a minute. Okay. And what is explicit wait? Explicit wait means, let's assume you got to know, your application is slow and then it is taking around 15 seconds to respond. So you can just specify 15 seconds. That means the script or test project will wait for 15 seconds hard-coded value. I can say it's a hard-coded value. It's gonna wait for 15 seconds and then only it's gonna proceed to the next step. Even though the element loaded, even though you got the response from the server, it's gonna wait for 15 seconds for sure. Even though you got the response within 10 seconds also, it's gonna wait for 15 seconds. So that is explicit wait. What about the other option? visible elements operations. So that means, so as I told you in previous scenario, as soon as you click on login, once you provide username and password, you will be landing on home page. So you can define, okay, once this in the home page, once the welcome note, let's assume in the home page I'm actually validating welcome note. Once the welcome note element is visible, then you perform the validation. So as soon as the welcome note is visible, let's assume within 1 second, if you the welcome note, its server response is received within 1 second, right? Immediately it validates the welcome note. Let's assume the welcome note is not visible until 5 seconds. It's gonna wait until 5 seconds. And also, if the welcome note is not visible until 15 seconds, it's gonna wait for 15 seconds. Vice versa, it's going to wait for 25 seconds also. So that means the next step will be executed only if the element is visible. If you want to click on particular element, once it is visible, you can click. If you want to validate if the button is clickable or not, you can perform that. You can wait until that particular button is visible. So these are all the different options available in TestProject. So these different types are helpful for us to basically automate our test cases very effectively so that your performance of the scripts will be increased. Okay, so these are all really helpful in automating your application, like big applications and very critical applications and heavy applications. Okay, very important concepts, guys. So hope you all understand what I told you. Now let's jump onto the system and perform all these operations practically, step by step, and let me show you how can you set up all these parameters in TestProject while automating your test cases. Okay, so now this is my TestProject IO. I already logged into my session. Okay, so now let's discuss how can we use this Adoptive Wait in TestProject, and also how can we use Explicit Wait in TestProject. So I have already explained you what is the difference between Adoptive Wait and Explicit Wait. Okay, so let me show you practically now. So if you remember, we already automated one HRM portal, orange at HRM portal login functionality, right? So let me open this login functionality. Okay, let me just click on record so that it opens the website, and I can show you one scenario where we can use the Adoptive Wait. Okay, so it's opening the website, and now it also opens the Explorer. Okay, so let's run this login functionality until here. Okay, until we click on login. Okay, I want to run until here. Okay, for that, click on more options, run until here. So what it will do, it enters the username, it enters the password, it logs in to the user's profile. Okay, so once I log in, what I'm doing here, I am validating whether I'm logged in successfully or not by seeing this welcome note, welcome user, right? So if this welcome user exists, then the test should be passed. Okay, so whenever I click on login, so there is a chance that this page might have load a bit delayed. So it's all depends upon your client versus server response. Okay, so this is my client. Whenever I click on login, the data stores into your database, and then server responds to your action. So if the server response is slow, right, then what happens, this page will load very slowly and your welcome note will be delayed, right? For that, what we can do here, okay, so basically you can set an adaptive wait to validate this text here. Okay, how? So this is my step where I am validating whether I have a welcome text or not, right? So click on this step and then scroll down, and you need to expand your advanced options. Okay, so once you expand advanced options, so if you scroll down, there is an option called adaptive wait. Okay, so you need to enable this. So as soon as you enable, so if you see, it by default showing me run normal. That means this adaptive wait is being applied for 15 seconds. 15,000 milliseconds means 15 seconds. Okay, if I want to increase it for further, which is patient, that means it waits until 25,000 milliseconds or 25 seconds. If I go for very patient, it goes up to 35 seconds. If I want to customize this and put it as 50,000 seconds, that means 50 seconds, then I can do that also. Okay, so what do you mean by normal? What do you mean by adaptive wait 15,000 milliseconds? That means at this step, it's gonna apply your adaptive wait until 15 seconds. But within 15 seconds, if this element loads, let's assume this element loaded within 5 seconds, then it's going to move on to the next step. It's not going to wait until 15 seconds. Whenever the page is loaded and the corresponding elements loaded properly, within 5 seconds, within 15 seconds, it's going to go to the next step. It will not wait until 15 seconds, but it can wait until maximum 15 seconds. So this maximum value what you want to set, that depends upon your application performance, right? If you want to set maximum 20 seconds, then you can do that. So if you apply 20 seconds, it waits until 20 seconds, but before that itself, if elements loads, it automatically goes to the next step. It will not wait until 20 seconds, right? So that's the use of your adaptive wait. So you can mention your custom value, or you can set the existing normal, patient or very patient values. Okay, that's the adaptive wait. Okay, so let's assume I want to put 15 seconds adaptive wait. Okay, what do you mean by explicit wait? So let's assume I want to put explicit wait before this validation point. So what I can do is I can add a new step here, and then I can call an action called pass, right? Select the pass. I want to wait until 20,000 seconds. For example, 20 seconds. 20,000 milliseconds, which is 20 seconds or 15 seconds. Okay, I want to wait until 15 seconds and save the step and bring this step before this welcome validation. So what it will do, once you click on submit, this pass explicit wait, what it's gonna do, it's gonna wait for 15 seconds period, whether element loads or not. Even though element loads, it has to wait 15 seconds to validate this welcome note. So as soon as within 5 seconds, if this elements appears, it's not going to move to the next step. It will wait. This is a hard coded 15 seconds. Okay, so you understand the difference, right? Here we are hard coding the 15 seconds wait, but here we are applying the adaptive wait for 15 seconds, but whenever the element loads, it automatically goes to the next step. So that's the advantage of the adaptive waits. Okay, and also there is a concept called until element visible. Okay, so you can find these in if you go to TestProject, right? If you go to TestProject IO, okay, if you go to TestProject and then once you go to add-ons, okay, there is a service called visible. Okay, so you will find a service, add-on called visible elements operations. That means this will support all the operations like actions like if visible. Basically whenever the element is visible, right, you can click on that visible element. Whenever the element is visible, you can validate the text. Whenever the element is visible, you can get the text. Whenever element is visible, is it clickable or not? Basically here in our previous example, as soon as this welcome Paul is visible, then only it's gonna validate the step. This validation will be performed as soon as this element visible. Let's assume this element is visible in 1 seconds, then immediately it's going to validate. Let's assume if this element is visible until 5 seconds, then it's going to wait for 5 seconds. If it is gonna visible until 20 seconds, it's gonna wait 10 to 20 seconds. So that's the way this particular add-on very much helpful for us to basically automate our test cases in a perfect manner. Okay, so these are all the different options available in TestProject. So based on the demand, based on your needs, you can use any kind of wait functionalities or adaptive wait functionalities, pause functionalities, or visible functionalities. Okay, hope you all understand the concept very well, which is really helpful in automating your scripts and increasing the performance of your scripts. Okay, if you have any questions, please provide your comments in the comment box. I'm gonna reply to your comments, and please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos on these concepts. Thank you.